Welcome everybody to week 8, day 2. Today we are going to be doing mostly lab time. So why? Because a lot of students have been asking me for more practice working with files. And so today we're actually going to do a hands-on, actually practical, little bit of lab time so you can actually see what it's like to work with a real file. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a little bit of like data science today. So there is a great website called Kaggle, kaggle.com, and you have to register on the website. You're all smart people, you can figure out how to do it. And then you can go over to the data sets over here and you can look at all these different data sets. Just find one that appeals to you. I'm going to do data science job salaries because it's ironic. And then click on download. And then this is going to download to my desktop, let's say. And then I can close out of Kaggle. And then on the desktop, I'm going to extract the archive. It's like that. If you've seen that before, it's part of Windows. I use 7-zip also. And then you end up with a folder that has this file in it called dssalaries.csv. CSV stands for comma separated value. And if you open it up, you can look at it. It looks like this. Okay. So, question number 1, how do you get a file onto the server? Okay. Well, there's a few different ways of doing it. The easiest way is by using something called the Secure Containment Protocol. So if you're familiar with the SCP initiative, there are a number of numbered monsters in the SCP universe, and one of them has the ability to copy files to and from the server. And the one, in fact, we're going to use is called WhenSCP. Okay? So WhenSCP is a mythological creature that nonetheless exists and has the ability to copy files to and from the server. If you do not have WhenSCP, you can download it. It's freeware. And yeah, if it asks you, are you sure you want to open it? Yes, you hit yes. It's fine. Okay. And so you download WhenSCP onto your computer, and then you can log in on the server using your username, your password, and the host name. Exact same thing. You punch into PuTTY, you punch in here, and you hit login. And then when you do that, it'll probably ask you if it's your first time, something, something, something. You hit yes. And then you can see over here, I've got all the files on my server over here. And then I've got all the files on my desktop over here. And inside of this archive, you can see there's DS salaries right here. So in order to copy that over to the server, you can just click it and drag it, and it will transfer the file over. Bloop, there you go. And then you can close out of WhenSCP at that point. But WhenSCP, just so you know, is how you can back up your files too. You can drag files from the server onto your local computer. You can drag files from your local computer onto the server, and that's how you can like back up your files. I highly recommend that everybody make a backup of all of their files every semester. I have records going back decades of basically everything I've ever coded, you know. I think I might have lost the stuff I did my freshman year, but I've got, I think, pretty much everything else backed up on my computer. And that's how you do it. You just open up the Secure Containment Protocol. Sometimes you'll see people call it Secure Copy Protocol, but we all know that it's part of the SCP initiative. So invoke the magical creature. Is it actually named after the fictional foundation? No, I'm making a joke. Or am I? I don't know. No, SCP's been around for a long time. So it is been around for ages. Yeah, that's when it was updated, but I don't remember exactly when it came out. It's been around probably 20 years or so. Something like that. It way predates the fictional initiative. Okay, so now I've copied the file onto the server. I can view the DS salaries CSV file. There it is. It's on the server now. And you can see I've got the file here. It's the reason why it's called a CSV, a comma separated value file, is because commas separate the values in the file. The top row is the column headers, and maybe you want that, maybe you don't want that. I don't know. You could, if you want, you can just delete it if you want. If you don't want them. So let's say that I'm going to do something like find out what the average salary is of a data science person. That's nice and meta, right? To use data science to figure out the salary of a data science person. So maybe I can start with that. And then maybe I might move on to like say, hey, is there a difference in price if they are 0% remote, 50% remote, 100% remote, that kind of stuff, right? And see if there's like a noticeable difference in salaries depending on whether or not they're remote jobs or not. So how do we do that? Okay, that's your lab time. But I'll give you a little bit of spoiler. Okay, so we'll start. That's the name of the file. I'll give you some starter code to start off with. Okay, so after you got the file copied over, then we are going to ifstream file. Open the file. Okay. So this makes a variable called file. I don't know. It's not a great name, but what can you do? It creates a variable named file of type input file stream, and it's going to be reading from the dssalaries.csv file. First thing you should always do is check to see if the file was able to be opened. If it wasn't, then you say cout error opening salaries. And quit. It's just good practice. I'm not too worried about it for our lab time today, but it's good practice to get into. And then we're going to be reading from the file. Okay. So we're going to say while the file is still valid, we are going to. How many columns does this thing have? 12, I think. Not 12 on it. 11. Okay. So that means we've got 10 commas, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, each line has got 10 commas in it, and then a new line at the end. Okay. All right. So if I know how many times I need to do something, is that a while loop or is that a for loop? What do you guys think? It's a for loop. Very good. Okay. So for int I equals 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. Should I have the number here? Probably not. This is something called the magic number. In general, people are going to look at you weird. Like they're going to squint at you. Like, where did the number 10 come from? You know? And so rather than putting the number 10 there, I'd probably say like columns of data. Will this compile? Absolutely not. So we need to make that variable. Okay. So we're going to make a variable called const int columns of data. It's equal to 10. And now this thing is human readable. Okay. So actually, their columns of data is 11. So I'll make that -1. And again, my rule for commenting is that if anybody ever looks at your code and they go, WTF, why do you have a -1 there? What is -1 for? Anytime somebody gives you that squinty-eyed look, you need a comment to explain it. Okay? And so I'm going to make a comment here and say if there are 11 columns, there are 10 commas separating the values, like that. Okay? That's why it's -1. So there's not a comma at the very end of the line. It's a new line. So how do we find the number of columns so it can be changed based on different files? We'll go over that on Friday, boss. Right now, just hard code it. Yep. Yeah, just set a constant like that. That's the best way of doing it. Okay. So we're going to read 10 columns of data, and then we're going to do the last column of data. And we're going to read a column of data like this. String S, get line from file into S until a comma is read. This is main thing. Okay, so this will read all of the data until the first comma. All right, and then when we do it again in the second loop, it reads all the data until the second comma, and it throws the comma away. And they read it again, it reads all the data until the next comma. And so this will grab all of the data except for the very last column. And the reason why we can't do this for the last column is because there's no comma at the end. So at the very end, we do this one more time. And we, instead of reading until a comma, we read until a new line, or we can just leave that parameter off because it defaults to reading until a new line. Get line reads until a new line is read. Okay. If we don't pass in a third parameter. So this means read until a comma is read and throw the comma away. So we did all this stuff. We should probably see out the stuff. See out S. See out S. Maybe not a new line. Put a tab in there or something like that. And then if we ever read off the end of the file, we'll just break. And I'll do that after every get line. Every time we read from the file, we check to see if we read off the edge of the file, and if we did, we just stop. Yeah, should work. Might have an issue if there's missing data in the last column, but whatever. So there. So here is your starting point. Okay. So here is all of the columns of data, and everything's being read in. So it's going to be your job to start with this starting code. Read all of the data into, and again, your data file is probably not going to be the same as this data file. You're going to read in all of the columns of data. You're going to put them into vectors, and then you're going to do some sort of analysis over them. So, for example, tell me what the average income is for a data science person. Tell me and then once you get that working, then say, all right, what about the salary of people that are remote, people that are not remote, people that are half remote? See if that causes a salary differential, And so this is data science, right? Data science is essentially taking data sets, doing some sort of analysis, and making either a statement about reality or a prediction about the future. You have the rest of class to do this. Okay? So here's your starting point. You got your data. You got to copy it over on the server. Do something interesting with the data. And then post it on Discord. Okay? So that's it for my recording. If I think of anything else you guys need to know, I'll record some more. But that's pretty much it. Okay? Good luck.